Okay, I opened up a browser. I'm using Firefox. And up in here, I'm going to type in www.mathway. It's coming up already, .com. Do you all see it up there? www.mathway.com. And then I hit enter. And I get this particular site. Now, I'm actually a member of this site, but there is a free version, and it looks like this when you first get to the page. And we are in the algebra area. Notice this is similar to MATLAB. You could use these symbols if you want to work on something, and then later you may want to use this for logs. And then there's our e-value, and there's function. Okay, but we want to solve systems of linear equations in two variables. So one, which was 2b on topic 1.6, which had to do with investments, where you had two investments, and there was one at 5%, and that was, we called X. So that's the amount we had at 5%, and then plus Y, and that was the amount we had at 10%, and then that equaled $5,000, which was our total investment. Now, the other day, what we did in class is worked on these, reading the problems carefully, and then figuring out what an equation would be. Now, this is going to be a straight line somewhere on a graph, but at this time, I hit enter, and we go down to the next line, and we're going to put in our 5%, so 0.05 of the amount of X. Again, we don't know how much it is. This is the beauty of algebra. Plus our 10%, which is 0.10 of Y. And the interest earned from that, we said, I got to put an equal sign in there. There we go. Was, I believe, $340. $340. So those were our two equations, and we said we could solve it by substitution. We could solve it by elimination, we said. One of the first things you might do is get rid of the decimal points here. Here you would have to add 2. And we had shown this in class the other day, but we never got an answer because we're just setting them up. Now here's a tool that you could use to check your work to see if in fact you do get an answer. So all we do is click on answer now, and it's calculating it. And now what I've done is I've signed in, because if I don't, then I get advertisement, because I am a member of this site. So I click now on answer, and here they're showing me the actual steps that I use if I want to solve for X, and then I use substitution. I end up with Y equals 1800, and I have X equals 3200. So I invested $3,200 of my 5,000 at 5%, and I invested $1,800 of my 5,000 at 10%. This is my ordered pair. Now, in the non-paid program, the free one that you might use, you just get this answer here. And that's all you're really interested in. And hopefully you know how to do it via the steps. And then we did show that this was a graph that would intersect somewhere. Let's see what happens if I click on this here. It's going to maybe proportion that graph so that the coordinates fit on there, because they're kind of big numbers. So it doesn't look like, let's see here, where do I have to click to? I'm making it smaller. Okay, I had to minimize the sizes so that I got, again, these are quite big numbers. So they're intersecting, again, where we said 3,200 and 1,800. So our x coordinate was 3,200, right about there. And our y coordinate was about 1,800, about there. So you get an idea of what that's like. Now, another example that we did was one with house coffee, and we used the letter H. So let's see if H works here. So there's H, plus we said the Columbia coffee, and we needed 10 pounds of that. Now the house coffee was $4.25 per pound. That was the house coffee. And the Columbia coffee was $6.50 per pound. And we wanted to have, let's see, 10 pounds of $4.70 coffee. And we're going to multiply the 10 times 470 and get just 47. So I can put that in. And again, I could solve by elimination or by substitution. And I guess it says, there it is, by addition or elimination. But we'll say substitution's fine. And let's check our answer. And again, they're showing us the steps for substitution. And when we finally get to our answer, yep, we're going to need 8 pounds of house coffee and 2 pounds of Columbia coffee, and it checks out. And if we wanted to see the graph of this, let's see if we can see the graph. Well, I wasn't able to get a graph. I must have to do something else here. I did get a graph before. But anyway, again, this is a tool. They would just give you, in the free version, you would put this in, and they would actually give you your ordered pair, which we said down here was H is 8 and C is 4. If you worked it using other methods, either substitution, and they do give you a lot of choices to solve this by matrix or any kind of thing here that I could think of. I guess they're all there. Okay, this will wrap this up.